A bag band now. The minute it says rotate, but
oh dear.
I think it's okay now.
I'm not sure about annoying.
Yeah. Hold on.
It's just half of you.
It's a little tilt. Can you see the chair?
Just a bit of it was a neighbor and came more. No, now the chair's not ahead. Keep turning. That's it. That's it. That's
And
it.
you have to be like,
I can lean forward. And if I lean forward, then I'll be in that.
hello!
That's it.
But do you like that song? I don't like it that much.
Oh, it's just something to start us off. I can boogie to it.
Yeah. Should be.
I know. Hey, Sheriff and Paul Manso film said cafe.
You know, Noella name.
A film quite actually a perfect picture.
Should be within range.
Are we on air?
Yeah. You are on air.
What about no Kenjo? I don't Kenjo. That's the few news.
The thing probably is saying something. There are some people on it already.
Well, can you see comments here on your phone?
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I'll do.
Okay.
The thing is not. It should be, the sound should be. These people like this full of shit. So good. I don't have, there's not much juice.
It's not charging.
It's not. And I think what is not speaking. You can speak into the thing if you like.
Mini.
Into the people are on.
I'm not the hostess. They'll be shocked. She has a strange voice.
Device is ready for connecting. Connected.
That's what I guess. What's up with this
People are on.
What's up with this
They haven't said anything. No. You've been on for a while.
People are looking at me for a while.
Yeah, somebody is on there already. Yep. Welcome. We're a few minutes late, but we're still on track. We're doing this in my house because there were electrical problems in the studio of ABN. Therefore, welcome to my show, Kiki's Chat and Kiki's Abode. Now, there is me, Kiki, of course. And then I have my wonderful, I don't know whether to call her my sidekick or what are you, my darling? Yeah, you're my sidekick. Today, I have Miss Marion Clerk. Now, you notice my mouth as I say clerk, because on our first meeting, she said, my name is not Clark, it is Clerk. So now I make emphasis on the clerk. Now, Marion Clerk, if you've never seen her before on my show, she's a regular on my show. And if you've never seen her before, she's one of the world's intelligent lady who is constantly learning, constantly inquisitively looking for info and imparting this info. So one day I said, well, you can come on my show and we can share information. So there we are, sharing information. Today the topic is hair. Hair. As you can see, Marion has natural hair. What is it? Is it in twists?
It's in twists.
It's in twists.
Pinky twists.
And as you can see, the diva is in her wig. I love my wig. I have several wigs. And then I have my natural hair lurking underneath the wigs. Now, there are times when I bring it out, but because this looks close to my natural hair, as you can see, you won't even know when I'm real or when I'm fake. And I like that about myself because I enjoy reinventing myself. Now, there are times when you go on social media, and especially on black forums, the men like to complain bitterly about women's hair. It annoys me. And so I fight with them all the time. Because I don't see how a woman's choice is any business of theirs. And I always say, and I will stress it here as well on my show, that if you prefer a woman with natural hair, embrace her, marry her, have children with her, do what suits you best, but you cannot ram it down our throats. What do you think of this?
I agree with you. Of course, lately you can see that a lot of black women are embracing the natural look. It seems to be more trendy now to rock the fro.
You have to shout because...
to rock the fro, a lot of women now are embracing the natural look.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, it's the individual's choice. People like to have that flexibility of putting on a wig when they feel like it, whether it's a straight one, whether it's a curly one, whether it's an afro one. I think the advantage is that flexibility of being able to change your look anytime you want. And I think it's an excellent thing. We should be able to do what we want to do. We don't have to be told, no, I don't think it's the way. There have been people who've been told, actually, I don't like you with a natural look. I prefer you with weave, the long, this sleek look and all that. So even though the person would like to change the look, sometimes they can't because the person in their life is telling them, I don't like this look, I prefer this look. And I think, once again, we're back on that topic again, women being told how they should look, whether they like it or not. And to please the person, the woman goes along with it until, she explodes one day because she can't take it anymore, etc., etc. Women should be free to change their looks. I mean, the advantages. You're working, you're in a hurry in the morning, you haven't got time to blow. The Afro look needs a lot of taking care of. You have to have time for your hair. And if you're working and you've got kids and you're in a hurry, the easiest way is to put on a wig.
Well, I mean, yeah, it seemingly is the easiest way. However, putting on a wig is not easy. This hair, I would like you to know that it is quite, it is oil.
Of course. Well, you probably do it the night before to get it ready.
I do on a Sunday, And sometimes I'm not sure which one's going to go. So I coif like three. They're oil, they're cream, they're done.
Yes, exactly, because there isn't time to do it in the morning.
No.
You can't do that to the hair the night before, your own hair the night before.
No.
You still have to work on it in the morning. Even if you worked on it the night before, in the morning you still have to, do things to it to get it to where you want it to be. And if you haven't got time, you've got that flexibility of wearing the wig.
Yeah.
So I think it's got its pros and cons. Of course, the idea shouldn't be that, the natural look is in, the right way. We shouldn't be made to think that having the natural look is wrong.
You think choice is
it should be the main thing here. And of course, we should all be aware of the pros and cons of all the, various decisions we make about our hair. If you want to do weaves, forever, that's your choice. Obviously, I think it's great for us all to know the advantages and disadvantages of doing something for a very long time. For instance, the reason why I'm saying that is sometimes they say if you do the weave for a prolonged period, it can damage your hair, it can damage, your scalp, etc., etc. So we need to know these things. We need to educate ourselves about these things as Black women.
Well, one of the education, I'm going to tell you snippets of things that I found out in the research for hair. Now, a pathologist reported that a good number of dead Black women had scars on their scalp. And then when they removed the scalp and looked at the scalp, the same pattern of scars were underneath the scalp and on the skull of the head.
Wow.
And it was something which was not on the Caucasian head, but a lot of the time it was on the black head. Because of that, they felt it. They did a little bit more research and discovered that it's the perming creams and all of those things which have parabens that are dangerous, and they cause those scarring on the scalp. Now, when you have scarring, one of the things that they've also discovered is, and this was discovered in 2018, I don't know what was going on up until then, but it has been discovered that these, that is why as Black women get older, they start losing their hair and can't have regrowth. You see, now that is not all. Those parabens, some of them are quite dangerous, and they seep into your body and then create situations for young women who are trying to have children and all of that. So this is something which people need to be aware of. Now, every year, girls grow older and then they start perming their hair. Some people start perming from 12, 13, 14. Some mothers will promise their children, when you pass your exams and you are now in secondary school, you can have your hair permed. It is a rite of passage for us because, you know, that's when you can do several styles. You put the rollers in, you do all sorts of interesting things. Now, long-term perming, long-term playing with the hair with chemicals, some of those chemicals are dangerous.
Yeah.
And so this is the issue that we're bringing out today.
Yeah.
Black hair is a joy and pride of every woman.
Yeah.
For years, all across Africa, women on a Sunday or on a bank or holiday or whenever they have less to do, they sit around with their friends or family females and they do their hair, and that was social media. The gossiping and all of that is
plans are made,
when
ideas are shared.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So the plaiting of hair, the braiding of hair, the styling of hair is, you know, is from
Second nature.
from when
from the year dot.
Yes, when human beings were created. But increasingly, with mixing with the Caucasian, living abroad, mixing in the Western world, watching videos, films, etc., the idea of beauty is to have that sleek hair and all of that. And all of a sudden, there is so much market for perming creams. And then after that, it advanced into weaves. I remember my mother and her, they wore wigs. Now we have something called lace.
There's a
wigs.
variety.
They're different types.
There's a lot of different things out
Yeah.
there. But why do you think for a very, very long time, right from childhood, young black girls have this image that the long, sleek hair is a thing of beauty? Is it because we didn't have a lot of black dolls with afro hair to play with?
Well, we
as
didn't.
kids?
We didn't. We didn't have black dolls. I mean, I had a black doll, believe it or not. She was called Dinah.
Well, I had one. I wasn't sure if it was black or well, it was in between, called Felicia.
So there you go. I had a black doll, and her hair was just like this. Maybe that's why I like this kind of look.
Yeah.
But
And it's the same. There aren't a lot. They are. I think they're available now, but they're not readily available. I don't think if you go in a shop where they sell dolls and toys, you'd find the same amount of a variety of black dolls as you'd find Caucasian dolls. Don't you think?
yeah, I mean, you know, we in Africa we had wooden dolls.
We did. Definitely.
And you know, we had wooden dolls. We had, you know.
Yeah, we did have.
We had wooden dolls,
Yeah.
but now the dolls are there. You know, they're white and with blue eyes.
Yes.
And I used to poke. I had several dolls. And I used to poke my little dolls, but I loved my black doll because it was the same color as me.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I wish I had it now to show you because I was very fond of that doll. And I used to dress it up. So that's where I learned how to make.
So it goes to show that it had an impact because you saw yourself.
Yeah.
Rather than
my baby. It was my baby.
Yeah. It looked like you.
Yeah, it looked like me.
But a lot of young black girls haven't had that for a very long time.
Yeah.
And you know, of course, the afro hair is not the easiest of hairs to handle.
No. that's where the title
the
of
easiest.
today's show is Wigs, Weaves, Tears and Downcuts. Now that's where the tears come in.
Yeah, they're not the easiest of hairs to handle. So I think it's one of the reasons why a lot of young girls, I'll use Ghana, have their hair cut when they're going to school.
Yeah.
Because, parents haven't got time to spend in the morning sorting out their hair. So I suppose it's easier for them to have their hair cut. I remember my daughter saying to me, why are all the girls in Ghana
Went down.
why have they all got short and cut hair?
One of the reasons why the girls in Ghana had short hair is because they weren't allowed to have their hairs plaited in school.
Yes.
And so everybody had their short cut until you got to, in my school, when you got to sixth form, you were allowed to have braids. And then you then went to university with your term.
What you wanted to do.
And you did whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Because I remember getting really excited after O levels at the prospect of going to get my hair permed. And even that, I had to still behave, because if I didn't, there was a possibility that my dad would step in and say, no, she's not going to have it. So I had to be on my best behaviour so that I can get my hair permed, because, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to have my hair permed, because it's easy to do things with it. You can have a ponytail, you can do a bob, you can do different things with it. Whereas the Afro hair hadn't been developed as it is today, where you can do different things with it. Now you can do a lot of things with the Afro hair, because
you can soften it.
Yeah. People are learning more about the Afro hair. There are quite a few salons now dedicated to dealing with the Afro hair. If you research and you look up, you'll find quite a few salons are dedicated to dealing with the Afro hair. And now you don't necessarily have to have chemicals in it, because you can press it and it looks straight. It may not be for a very long period, but you can have it for a while. And there are other things, and there are products on the market now that are for the natural hair.
Okay, one of the other reasons why the tears issue, is because for years, every Sunday, especially in this country, in America and all, because girls can have their hairs plaited and taken to school. And I remember when I was a kid myself, I hated it. I hated hair plaiting so much that I don't like braids. Because on a Sunday afternoon, after you've had your nice fufu and life is happy and good, they'd call you and it's time to do your hair. And sometimes, this auntie will come and she's very rough with your hair, and she would plait it and she would do, comb it, and then I'll be crying my heart out. And it became something where they would wait till my dad went to play tennis.
And then they'll get you.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people remember me with my hair nicely plaited and, nicely done and all.
Yeah.
It was torture.
Yeah.
It was torture.
Yeah. I remember that as well, and I was threatened, I'm going to cut your hair if you don't sit quietly. You're going to have your hair cut. It was always... And then I realised that when I had my own daughter, the cycle was being repeated.
Again.
It was a nightmare. She would cry, it was difficult. So I was quite happy when she became independent enough and showed an interest in hair. So now she does her own hair. She loves doing her own hair. She's always looking up hairstyles, researching on it. She says to me, I think your hair is 4C. And I'm like, what's a 4C? I only know when I'm going to buy the hair. I can ask for a colour 1B or whatever. I don't know anything about 4C. But it goes to show that the information is out there now about the Afro hair. If you're interested, and you really want to stick with that, I think there's a lot more resources and help out there and information out there if that's the path you want to follow. But if that's not the path you want to follow as well, that's absolutely fine. As you said earlier on, it's got to be about choice, what you want to do with your hair.
Yeah.
It's really important that you're not doing it because it pleases somebody. It's got to be what you're comfortable with, what works for you, what you want to do. whatever decision you make about your hair. If you want to have the completely, the page boy, cut it short completely, that's fine as well.
That's the down cut.
Yeah, well, I wish
Page
I was.
boy.
I'm not bold enough. I wish I was. I would love to have that low cut.
I'm thinking of having a low cut. I want to, let me tell you how I want to be. And I'm going to do it very soon. By next summer. I want to have down cut so that, and I'm not going to dye it or anything, but I'm just going to leave it like that. And then I'm always going to have eyelashes, very long eyelashes in. And then my lipstick and my eyebrow. And I'm looking. The problem with that though is the shape of my head.
No, what's wrong with
I don't know. I'm not confident. That's where my confidence is lacking. Is the shape of my head. I'm a little bit scared as to what the shape is going to be. Is it going to be some flat head or what? I don't know what my head looks like. That's the problem. I don't know. So I'm
looking at your face and I can just see that it's going to be a great look. I can just see you.
What she's saying to me.
But I would like to have that look. It's just that I'm not bold enough. But I see people doing it more now, and I think they must feel such freedom.
Now, my friend Lily, she's very adventurous. So one day, this is about 10 years ago, she said, I'm going to cut my hair. So I said, hey, when are you going to cut it to? And she said, I'm going to go down cut.
Completely
and I'm going to color it red. Or, she said, so I'm like, really? She said, yeah. So, okay. I said, let's go shopping and buy a wig.
Just in case.
So we bought the wig and put it down. And then she went, had her hair cut and everything. And she looked magnificent.
Amazing.
I mean, she's beautiful already, but it was breathtaking, Yeah. And since then, she hasn't looked back. The wig she bought, one day we were going to a party, she put it on. Right there at the party, she got fed up, threw it in the bin. That was it. The next time she bought another wig, she threw it under her bed, couldn't find it because she had become liberated.
Yes,
and she didn't see the need for
anything else.
But she is lucky. And she is bold. And she
carried it off.
Yeah, she carried it off. So now I'm thinking, shall I give it a shot? Now people look at me, I like my head, a full head of hair. Oh my God, So yeah, this is where we're gonna go with shock and awe when I do have that haircut.
Well, it's going to be a good look. I think it's going to be a good look. I think more and more women are doing it.
Oh yes.
And it looks good on them. I think maybe a little colour. For me personally, I think if I'm going to go that short,
you're going to put colour in.
I have to put some colour.
Like what? Peroxide? Is it bold?
No.
Like blonde or?
No. Maybe a
red?
dark brown.
Dark brown.
Yeah. Like a dark brown.
They will sue you because you're brown. So, I think it was you. I think what we need to do first and foremost is buy a wig.
Yeah. I will definitely
and put it down.
And put it down, definitely. Because I suspect there'll be occasions when I feel like having a long look or a curly look or whatever.
Okay.
Because I think there are times when you feel like you need a different look.
Yeah.
And I think that's the fun.
The whole you see, that's the thing. I like that sometimes you get up, it's like you get up in the morning and you're going somewhere and you kind of think, okay, let me wear this trouser, let me wear this top, and let me wear my
this look today. Yes.
Because you see, people, this is my conservative wig. You will not believe. I have them, the wild ones, and I just, depending on my mood.
Yes, but would you go for different bright colors? Would you wear?
I'm not. I have blonde, but I'm not very,
keen on it.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I'm not a color person. Although I think I've reached the point where I can become liberated enough to tri-color. And,
Yeah.
you know, there is another thing about hair which I think we should broach on a little bit. When you are black and you are ambitious and you want to work in certain areas, you're a lawyer, you're a this, you're a that, you kind of think that you should be in a kind of a uniformed situation where straight hair, even if it's short, is nice and neat, it's all done up beautifully. No afro, no downcuts, no, you know, that sort of thing, so that you don't want to frighten your employers. You want to have a good interview. You want to look
The part.
the part. Now, the question is, and everybody's open to answer this question. The question is, are you lying to yourself, or are you being true to yourself when you do that, or do you have to do this to survive? Is it something that has to be done? People? You?
Well, you know, I think it all boils down to the way we expect her to look. Because I think
Expectations
yeah,
at work.
yes, because I've heard of a story where somebody went for an interview
Yeah.
in the city
Yeah.
and their hair was short
Yeah.
and natural.
Natural. Sure.
Yes,
Okay.
natural, short.
Yeah.
And then they were pulled to one side and told one of the things that would help them sell themselves better would be if they put on a wig
Yeah.
to look like everybody else looks in the office. Obviously, they're not used to seeing the afro hair, or they don't think it's nice. But this is what the person was told.
They don't. Who doesn't think it's nice?
Well, the
employer.
employer.
Okay.
Yes, the employer. So she got the job, but she had to wear a wig.
She had to work
She
in
had
the
to
city
work-
of London.
Yes. Yes.
This
she
is
had
what.
to,
This
she
is
had
what.
to wear a wig every day. She could only take off the wig where she wasn't at work. But every day she went to work, she had to wear the wig until one day, because it was giving her headaches. She
The
went-
wig was
yeah,
giving her
yes,
headaches.
yes.
Okay.
So she went to see the GP, and the GP gave her a letter. It became an HR matter.
Oh.
Yes, in the end, she was able to not wear the wig. But it left her feeling like her looks weren't good enough. Her hair was not, the right type.
Yeah.
And once again, it's the issue of black people being made to feel like they need to look a certain way.
Yep.
It's the same as there's a lot of education around it now, but it's almost like the issue of bleaching and
Yeah.
stuff like that. People feel that they have to the skin has to look a certain way before they're accepted in certain circles.
Yeah. Coloring.
Exactly. So they would go ahead and buy all kinds of creams and potions and lotions, etc., so they can fit in. Because you're made to feel you're not cutting it yet. You don't fit the mold. You don't look the part.
Yeah.
And we're constantly having to fight these things. But it was
The prejudices.
Yes.
Of
And
hair.
it's now that a lot of people are beginning to appreciate the afro hair,
Well, in
the
one of the
versatility
states.
of the afro hair. You can stretch it, you can curl it, you can do things to it, and the resources are coming in. There are more and more products to enhance that, for you to be able to keep the afro look if that's what you want. People are encouraged to put off putting chemicals in their hair for as long as they want. Because like you said, there are things in the perming creams and things we put in our hair that do not help us much.
Well, in last year December, a referee called Alan Maloney was in the spotlight for making a teenage wrestler, Andrew Johnson, cut his hair, which sparked an outrage about racism and cultural habits. And this was in New Jersey, in America. And it was a big thing because he made the boy cut his hair. Now the parents, the family, other black people were like, I mean, this is the issue like Samson.
What was his reason?
His reason was it didn't fit in with the rest of the other wrestlers.
No, was it because the boy's hair? What was the problem? His hair was getting in the way. Was his hair blinding him from, was it too bushy? What was his issue with the hair?
His
He just
issue
didn't like the hair.
was that the dreadlock was too long, and he felt that it was just it wasn't uniform. It wasn't good enough for the boy.
So he made him cut it.
He made him cut it. He actually got a pair of scissors and started cutting.
Without the parents' permission.
Yeah. Without the parents' permission.
Wow.
But he faced condemnation on social media, and people talked about it. The New Jersey governor, Phil Murphy,
got involved.
film directors, Olympic wrestler Jordan Barras, all sorts of people got involved in the fray because they felt that he had no right to make the boy cut his hair.
Wow. You see, it's an ongoing thing. We're not quite over the hill yet when it comes to dealing with our hair. Clearly. Not everybody likes the look.
Not everybody. Now that's the thing. Why don't people like... Is our hair threatening to the outside world?
Clearly.
Is it threatening to the Caucasians?
Clearly.
Why? This is hair. Look at it. This is hair. It can't do anything. Nothing. It's just on my head. Why would someone feel...
For the same reason we have to answer... for the same reason we have to... for being black. For having to answer for being a black person. These are some of the things. Why aren't we liked because we're black?
Now, a new issue also has arisen, and this is black actors, models, and all of these people who have issues with their hair. Whenever they're acting, when they go, they need to bring their own stylist, and there's this issue where sometimes the studios don't want to pay for their stylist and don't understand why the stylist that they've paid for can't do their hair. And yet the stylists don't know what to do with the black hair.
Well, I'll tell you, many moons ago I lived in Belsize Park, and my hair was permed, and I needed to go to the salon for a wash and a blow dry, a treatment, have my hair done. And I walked into a salon that was predominantly white, but it had one of the guys was a black guy. So I walked in there and I said, well, I hadn't been in this country for long, so I assumed every salon catered for all types of hair. So I walked in and I said, I'd like to have my hair done. And he said to me, well, we don't really deal with black hair. But I can wash and blow dry your hair for you, and put a few bits. But the products we have here are not for black hair. So I said, okay. So he went to consult with the manager and they said, okay, well, we can do a wash, but be warned, the products are not for black hair. So it might not make your hair look the way you want it to look. I said, okay, but because I'm desperate, I need to have my hair done. So we proceeded, and by the time I left the salon, well, I'm not sure what my hair looked like.
Have you not seen children of mixed parentage? Haven't you seen children adopted? You could see a black child, daughter, adopted by white people, and the hair There's always a problem with the child's hair.
Yeah, it was like that.
Or the nanny, or
and the guy kept apologizing. The black guy kept apologizing, saying, we don't do black people's hair here, but we didn't want to turn you away because it looked, that's why. But the shampoo is for white hair, not for black hair. What can I say? My hair was washed, so I just paid and left. And then a friend of mine took me to Walthamstow, where...
How many years ago was
this? This was a long time ago. I'd just come to England then. And we went to Walthamstow and I thought, oh my gosh, actually hair salons here that deal with our hair. So I went there and they did my hair for me properly and all that. And I think it's not too different today. The salons are very separate. The whites do the whites' hair, the blacks do the blacks' hair. Very few salons do both. Very few salons take the trouble to study both hairs so they can do a wide variety of hairs.
The salon that I go to, I don't go to salons much these days because, as you know, this is bought yours. But one thing I like you to know is the minute a woman buys a wig, it's her hair. It's mine. Yeah. So that's one issue done. The other issue is there is a salon that I go to have my eyebrows done. And that salon, there are a mixture of colours. People go there and do things. People put in... And now putting in weaves is a universal thing.
Yes.
So people put in weaves, but they go, to the black salon to have it done more than they would go to the, the white salon to have it done.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
Yeah. I think perhaps when people are I don't know much about hair, training to be a hairdresser. So I don't know if they taught how to do all types of hair, rather than just the black hair.
Well, this is what you're saying. Black hair stylists learn across the board. They do the white, they do the black, they do the, all of that. Yeah. But the white hair, I don't think they do. They're not.
Because if actors have to bring their own stylists in, then it goes to show that they still can't be bothered.
Actresses, actors, and this is quite serious. There's an actress called Yvette Nicole Brown, and she tweeted this. It's on Twitter. You can research her, go onto Twitter, or you can even go on Google and look for her. This is a big thing that she's complained about, and all the other actors and actresses have joined in, and she is a black woman in the industry, and she has a lot of problems. But now, in America, for example, where there are a lot of actors, black actors and actresses, and with Real Housewives of Atlanta and all of these things, there are now specialist black hairdressers who travel with actors and actresses, and they are paid very well. So that's interesting as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lady called Charlotte Mensah who's got a salon in West London. I think she was on telly as well. Trying to promote black Afro hair and telling people about it. She's got a big salon, I think. And she does celebrities' hair, black celebrities like Erykah Badu, etc., etc. She does that. And she was on telly trying to promote and tell people, because people seriously, white people don't know much about black hair. They don't.
But I mean, do you really want them to know? What we need is more black hairdressers to cater for our hair. That would be good.
Well, it would be good for them to know about black hair because increasingly they're working together. Whites and blacks are working together increasingly. So it would be a good idea for them to know about it so that they can bring in the proper stylists so that they can do the black person's hair.
I want a black person to do the black person's hair and do both, if at all, so that they get the money. I mean, you want them to have a job.
Of course, definitely.
And black styling is very, if you watch what happens there. But I've got more to tell you. Now, we want to talk about weaves. We're on weaves now. And when it comes to weaves, some people say, can really destroy your hair if your scalp can't breathe and edges of your hair suffer. So a lot of people who do weaves, their edges suffer, the edges come off. And, you know, people need to learn how to keep their scalps healthy and how long to keep weaves on, when to remove it, etc. So this is something also that I think is very interesting indeed, that
we need a lot of education.
We need education on. So if you do weaves, if you're a young person coming up and you do weaves, or if you're somebody who leaves your weaving for longer than necessary, you are ruining your own hair. Sometimes people do weaves because they want their hair to grow underneath. But then it means you have to keep oiling the hair underneath. And you have to do all of the things which...
To maintain it.
Yeah, you know, maintenance to maintain the hair, to let it grow, to let it breathe. You have to change the weave from time to time. And all of this is time consuming. However, you need to invest in your hair.
Definitely. I mean, okay, so we all know there's a saying, too much of everything.
It's not good.
It's not good. So I was reading up on it, and it said that weaves are a good way of allowing the hair to rest and grow.
Okay.
However, you need to be made aware of the fact that you can't leave it in for longer than a certain period.
Okay.
Because afterwards, the hair becomes stunted. You know, the hair's not breathing. Your scalp suffers. You're not oiling it, etc. There have been horror stories about people suffering because the weave has been in for too long. It's been too tight. The scalp is damaged, and it's actually breeding maggots.
But apart from the maggots,
Well,
something else that happens to hair that people are not aware of is if you... Sometimes people have the weave on, so they dump the hair, put some chemicals in, and then oil the weave and leave it there. That's danger. Do you know why? Mold. Damp and chemicals create mold. And so mold is now on your scalp.
oh my gosh.
Parents,
The very idea.
you have to be careful what you do for your children, especially the parent. You see, I see parents who they weave a young girl's hair. She's 10 or something.
Oh, they do.
And she's got weaves in.
They do.
And then in the morning, sometimes they wipe.
Education.
They dump the
Education.
hair, wipe it, and then they kind of
Spray,
spray things on it.
We seriously need to be educated about plaits and weaves, and because I don't know if you heard of the story of the young girl in Ghana. This was maybe a year or two ago.
No.
A 2-year-old whose parents took her to the salon to have her hair plaited. She died. Yeah, she died because the hair was so tight. She had a brain hemorrhage.
How can you do this to a
Yes,
child?
it happened. It was in the news. But she died because of that. So hairdressers have a responsibility and a duty of care to their customers. I think it should not just be about the money. I think when somebody presents their hair to you and you can clearly see that the scalp is weak, the hair is weak, weave on is not the way for them. I think you are duty bound to tell them, okay, so this is the situation. I don't think it's advisable because people are so dependent on the weaves now that they've got no hair left.
Well, that's terrible. And if a 2-year-old, people please, don't do this to your 2-year-old. All babies are beautiful.
Yep.
And a 2-year-old is a baby. Why would you put a weave on a baby? Why would you do that? And also, the baby can't tell you certain things about what's going on in their head. So can you imagine that
The
grown-ups
scalp-
are having
the-
maggots in their hair?
The scalp is still soft.
No.
Remember, the sewing and the tagging and the pulling
Oh, no.
can be quite painful. So
And you see, I am old enough, and yet somebody touches my hair and I start crying. So for a baby, you're crying. You think, oh, she's just being a baby, but she is a baby, and she isn't late.
Definitely.
Stop it, please. Don't do it. This is where the tears come in. Stop maltreating. This is abuse of a child who has not formed properly yet. When you have a baby, one thing I must remind people of is there are soft spots in the hair. It's called the fontanelle. And that part of the head should not be tampered with
Yes.
until the skull closes.
Yeah.
Now, at the age of 2, if you are plaiting a baby's hair, you're killing the baby.
Putting extensions in it.
You're
basically.
killing the baby.
Definitely
Okay, the
killing
baby hasn't formed yet.
Yeah.
So this is something for you guys to know, that hair issues are big in our lives. Hair is the, crowning glory.
Yes. Yeah.
Crowning glory.
Hair is beautiful.
Hair is
Hair's
beautiful.
lovely.
And not having hair is also beautiful.
Oh, it is.
The thing is how you project yourself, because I know a lot of people who have downcuts. They dye the hair, they do all sorts of interesting things to the hair. And somebody's saying age appropriate hair, please. Now, what does that mean? Age appropriate.
Well, I suppose it's just like you said, 2-year-old having a weave on.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, personally, I don't agree with that. I think children should be allowed to be children.
Yeah.
Like you said, having hair is nice. Not having hair is equally nice. It's not necessarily what will define your beauty.
Yeah.
So
People don't realize that, hair is nice, all sorts of things. But attitude also can make you beautiful.
Yeah.
You have to have the right attitude. You have to have a smile on your face at all times. You have to view the world in a way that it is positive. And when you feel good and you feel positive, you impart it to other people and they feel good too. Then they like you for that. Now, this is not saying that you have to make people like you, but, this is you. And this is you, your personality, how you want to project yourself. There are lots of people who think, oh gosh, my mouth is big. People, look at my mouth. It is big. So I put lipstick on it. I make it bigger.
Lovely lips.
So, come on. Life is for the living.
Definitely.
Now, I have seen death in the face. So I know that, just live. Just enjoy. Just make yourself good. And everybody will feel that good. It will radiate. Your hair is however you project it to be.
Yeah.
You don't have to have my hair. My hair may not suit you. Do you see? Now, whilst we're talking about hair, one of the things I want you always to think about is we need all sorts of creams and things to put in our hair, but please read the labels. Read the labels. Hair is something that is part of you, your health. If you're not well, sometimes your hair falls out.
Yeah.
It means you are lacking in certain vitamins. It means all of that.
Yeah.
So your health is part of hair, nails, skin.
Or you could be recovering from chemotherapy.
You could,
all of that. Allopathy, you could just have, trauma, shock, some distress is causing you to lose your hair.
Depression
yes,
can cause you to lose your hair. But you see, it shouldn't make you think, oh my God, I can't go out because I have no hair. Babies, buy a wig. This is one of my most
prized possessions.
I absolutely absolutely love it.
Love it to bits.
This hair.
Well, it looks good on
Oh,
you.
I love it. And this is not even my best wig, but this is my knockabout wig. And yet, we
So you
are
have a
so
knockabout wig.
excited.
This is your knockabout
This
wig.
is my knockabout.
Oh, well.
I tell you, I have a wig for party. I have wig for dinner.
You should name them.
Oh, they have names, but I'm feeling shy. I don't want to say. Do you know some of my wigs have men's names? Some of the wigs I wear have men's names. So I don't want to say.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm an advocate for that. You should give them names.
Now,
Education is the key, I think.
education
I
is the
think
key.
inform yourself, arm yourself. We need to educate each other, and women should empower each other.
Empower each other.
You know, women should not let their fellow woman feel that they're not good enough because of their hair.
No, we all have different choices. Now, a
You
lot
know.
of people talk about women's hair as if they have rights, especially men. And I want, if there are any men on this show listening, I want you to know you have no rights apart from your wife and your daughter and maybe your mother. You have no right to denigrate, discuss, or talk about comment on other women's hair. It's none of your business. None of your business. Now, one of the things though that I said earlier in the show, which I'm saying again, is the chemicals you put on your hair, which are in the creams that you use, some of them are called parabens. Now, these parabens could be negative and dangerous. So please remember that if you're reading the, Google it, find out what is good, and be careful. Yeah, it's very important to know what's good for you and what's not good for you. Some people get all sort of fibroids. They have infertility. They have illnesses. All kinds of female problems. These are all from the creams that we put, some of the food that we eat, some of the things that we do that we're not supposed to do. So in this chat, I remember when I sent out the adverts to women first, I have a group of women that are on my speed dial who, when I'm about to have a show, I send them out a message saying, I'm talking about blah, blah, blah next Wednesday. What do you think? Some people said I don't do hair. I don't talk about hair and all of that. So the hair is a very tricky issue.
It is.
Especially black hair.
Yeah.
But, we have to talk about things.
We have
to educate ourselves.
That's the key. I'm an advocate for that. We have to educate
we
ourselves.
have to educate ourselves.
Yeah.
And therefore, we can't have things which affect us, but we can't talk about. That's not right.
Yeah.
That is not right.
I think also anyone who deals with hairdressers, must take it upon themselves to spread the word, educate their customers. When somebody comes in, talk to them, educate them, tell them what the truth is, what really works, what's right, what's wrong, more than anything else. Because I think if you truly have a passion for hair, then you would want to see people put their hair in the right place, or to see their hair flourish, or to see them do well. So I think hairdressers should, make it a point to always lay the cards on the table. Be brutally honest with people about their hair, because you'll be saving them more than anything else. If somebody brings a little child to you and say, I want you to do this to my child's hair, you should be able to say straight up to them,
oh, I can't do this because
this A, B, and C.
It will affect the child negatively.
Even if the person takes it, the wrong way, make sure you've told them the truth. You've made them aware of the dangers of what they want to do. And if they don't want to bring their custom to you, that's fine.
Yeah.
And, you know, they've made an informed decision.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
have to make an informed decision about their hair.
I'll tell you, there's a program on normal television called Botched, and when people go in there to have some of the breast augmentation and bum, sometimes the doctors say no, I can't do it because you already harmed your body to the level where I can't do it. And these are the best. They are the best doctors, and so you know, people have to be brave. If you're a hairdresser, this is something that you really should look at to do. Somebody else sent me a message saying they get nervous when they go to a new area or they get a new because there are other beautiful women there and they feel shy. So when the hairdresser does the thing for them, they don't like it and they can't. They keep quiet or they're afraid to ask questions. Please, it's your hair.
I know, but I can understand what they're saying. Hairdressing salons can be intimidating places for people.
Yeah.
Because they go there and there isn't necessarily a welcome for them. You know, sometimes you're waiting to catch somebody's eye, just to let them know, because no one actually comes forward to say, oh, hello, hi, what would you like to have done today? Or how can I help you? That customer service bit really throws people off. To be honest. So I think I understand where that person is coming from. But having said that, you know, we still need to pluck up that courage and say that we're not happy with what's on our head. It's really
true.
important. Otherwise, you know, you're putting your hair in danger.
You are. And somebody says you need to love yourself first. Lumps and bumps. The whole package before you start going out to do certain things, and all of that gives you confidence. I'll tell you, this is nothing to do with hair, but it happened to me last Friday. On Friday, this summer, I have been very busy. Every Saturday I'm out, and so what I do is I close from work quickly, and then it's one thing. Either I'm going to do my eyelashes or have my nails done or something. So last Friday, I left work early, rushing, took a train, got out at
Norwood Junction?
Norwood Junction, that's where it was, Norwood Junction. Got down, and then about 10 steps, there was this nail place. I'd been there before. And so, you know, I go there once in a while. They have loads of colors. My special nail guy, he doesn't have the adventurous colors that these people have. So to have my actual nail done properly, I go there. And then when I want to change color, I go to Norwood Junction. So I go to Norwood Junction. I tell the guy, I want something slightly browny, purpley, you know, that sort of thing. But, you know, or even pinky, but pink to suit my color. So he said, choose a color over there. So I go over there where all the nail colors are. I choose the color I want. And I bring it, and he opens it, and he says, oh, it's dry. So I said, well, you know, do you not have another one? He said, no, this color finish. You know, no, you know, and all of that. So I said, okay. So he said, I've got another color. It will suit you. So he brings this color. It's pink, light pink. And I'm like, hello, people, I'm quite dark. So I said, no, I don't like this color. It's too pink. It's pink.
It's not what you want.
It's for white people. No, I can't. He said, no, I do. It's nice. I do too cook. And it will be nice and all of this.
Not listening.
Now, 2 other people of the people there, the nail technicians, they were there and they also agreed, oh, no, let him do it. Nice. It's got nice, you know. You like, you know. Okay. So I sat there. And he tidied up my nails, did all of that, the filing and everything that I like. And then he put the nail color on. He kept doing it. And I said, I don't like this. I don't like it. So I said, stop. I don't like it. So he said, so what I do? What color? Go choose the. I said, no, I told you I didn't like it. So whilst
did he actually lose his temper?
Yeah, he did. He lost his temper. He's like, madam. He's talking, and then he's telling them in the
language,
Vietnamese language about. Immediately, the boss comes from where he's doing somebody's nail. She comes across. She takes the cotton. She wipes all of the color off. And then she says, wait 1 minute, I'm coming. Then she goes back and she brings this color that I've got on now. People, I don't know if you can see it, but it is a pinky, but it's
Brownie.
a darky brownie. You know, this is what I was talking. So now this is the color they said was finished.
He was just lazy. He just didn't want to go and look for it.
So she comes and she's apologizing. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I do it myself. I do for you. So she sat down, and she was doing somebody else's nails at the time. So anyway, she stops doing that person's nails. She's speaking Vietnamese. Somebody else go and do that. She comes and does my nails for me and all of that. And then she's chatting, how are the boys? How are you? And I was livid.
I can imagine.
I did not want to chat with her.
I can imagine.
Now, Friday night, you will not believe it, but I had a date. And so I was excited and happy. And I had the whole weekend. I had things to do. So I was thinking, I kept saying the Lord's Prayer because I didn't want to...
You're about to ruin your weekend.
I did not want to ruin my weekend. Now, you know, this is cutting a long story short. Now, the situation is, this happens in hairdressing salons as well.
Somebody would have kept quiet and taken the pink and then come home and be miserable
I know.
about it.
I said,
and perhaps wipe it all off. Because a lot of people find that they're unable to fight back when they don't want something.
Please, people, don't do that. It's your nails, it's your hair, it's your whatever,
eyebrow,
your toes,
your lashes,
eyebrow, your
whatever.
lashes. If you don't, and you're paying for it, it's not free. It's not free.
That's true.
And I put it on my Facebook page, and all my friends had a field day. They laughed their heads off about this. You know, it was just so funny. But when it was happening, it was not funny. It was not funny. It was horrible. And, you know, this is the thing about life, though. We need to take control about ourselves. We need to think. We need to speak up. We need to think clearly on what are our needs and deal with our needs. It doesn't have to be combative. You don't, you're women. You don't have to fight people. I did not fight. I just said, no, I'm sorry. I don't like it. I don't like it. No, take it off. And then the woman came and took it off. I didn't want to ruin my day. So I didn't, when she finished, I said, thank you. I was paying her. She didn't want me. I said, no, I've got to pay you. And paid her and left. I may not go back there. But the point is, I got the nail color that I want.
It's important to speak up. Because many people leave salons. I know someone who leaves a salon, goes home and takes out the hair. You know, immediately they get home. They couldn't talk because they didn't want to be confrontational about it. They didn't want an argument. They feel uncomfortable about speaking up. So they go home and they can take out the hair. And that's money gone down the drain.
Yeah, well, we can't live like that.
We can't live like that.
We can't live, and we're growing. We're
a point where you should be able to speak.
You should be able to speak up. Now, we've covered a lot of avenues. You won't believe it. We've talked about weaves. We've talked about the negative side of weaves. We've talked about the positives of weaves. We've talked about not letting your young children do weaves, because we've even talked about the tragic part of weaves where people die. The weaves are too tight, it's not done, and especially for children. Don't do it. You know, we all have choice, but we have to have sense with the choice, common sense with the choice. So, apart from weaves, we've talked about wigs. I like my wigs. As you can see, the minute the wig topic comes up, I am smiling. I love my wigs. Now, the different styles, my compadre here, Miss Clark, she has twists. Is it twists?
Yes, kinky
she's like kinky twist. You know, she does it up in different styles depending on where she's going, and it's beautiful, and she's comfortable with it. Then I have my Lily, who has a down cut. She's cut it down.
Classic.
Very, you know, and it's beautiful. The thing is to do the things that suit you best.
Yes.
I've even got my Wendy. She didn't use, never for years. Her hair is in beautiful curls, and it's always nicely done. She always looks, you know, in optimum,
On point.
on point. I can't keep my hair like that, and therefore I don't do it. So we have to do things that suit us best. Then we have those who perm their hair, and they have time to put rollers in their hair at night. I can't sleep. I'm one of those people who I need to be all over the bed. Now, if I have rollers in my hair, I will not be able to sleep. I keep waking up. It's not suitable for me. Then we have braids. People do braids. They will braid their hair in different styles. They feel comfortable. I was tortured with braids in my childhood. I swore never to do braids again. I do not do braids. So we have to do what suits us best. Do what works for you and feel beautiful for you.
And outside.
Yeah, inside and outside. The minute your hair is done, you look at yourself in the mirror, you feel like, this is me.
Yes.
Now, there is another part of our hair that we haven't talked about yet. And that is people who, because of some illness or something, their hair falls out. I watched and I wept. It was so emotional when I watched it, and this is one of the reasons why I did this. We're doing this show today. Yeah. There's this beautiful girl, very beautiful girl. I think I don't know whether she's Chinese or from Taiwan or something. And she is an influencer. She puts on makeup and she's always nicely done. And she got this illness called Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's a cancer of the blood. And so while she was being cured, she was in chemo and her hair started falling out. So she got this hairdresser came over and he was cutting her hair and she cried. She was being brave about it and she, little jokes, but it got to a point where she burst into tears. And her boyfriend was there and he was hugging her and telling her he loved her. And by the time she had her hair shaved off and everything, she looked beautiful, But you see, your hair, if you've had your hair for that length of time, it defines you. Yeah. You're attached to it. Your hair is like anything else. Your nails, So it was emotional. I watched it and I felt her feet, her sadness, the loss of her hair. But you see, the thing is, it comes back. Your hair will grow. Yeah. Hair grows all the time, And so this is the thing about life. We kind of should not attach too much to certain things. I have my hair. My hair is longer than this hair that is on my head. However, I like my wig and I love it. Now, now that we've moved on from losing your hair by accident or by whatever reason, or if it's a fashionable thing that you want to do, etc., etc., there is something that is insidious that we haven't talked about. Do you know what it is? Indian women, the Hindu, I think they're Hindu, they go to the temple, and outside of the temple, they shave their hair off, and there are people there who buy the hair, and then so there are lots of people who buy pure Indian hair or Peruvian hair.
Well, I'll tell you sad. Well, I thought it was quite sad.
Tell us.
This lady, because there's a lot of trouble in Venezuela.
Okay.
And people are escaping to Colombia and the surrounding countries.
Yeah.
So this woman, I was watching her, said that at the border to the country they're trying to escape to, there are companies there with agents and reps who buy your hair. Because obviously they're poor, they're escaping, they've got no money, they've got children. So what these agents are doing is you sell your hair, they weigh it, they measure it, and you can get up to $100 for it. So she had to do that in order to feed her kids. She had to cut her beautiful long hair, sell it to the agents because it goes to be processed and sold to other women.
You know, I'll tell you
I
something.
didn't know what to make of it because I just felt sad. I don't know. Has it come to that?
It has come to that. It has come. People sell their hair all the time. And one of the things that people don't know about, those who buy, I must stress that I watched a program a few years ago when I started buying wigs, when people, this woman bought hair from somebody and she took it, you know, she bought the hair pieces and she took it to a hairdresser who sewed the hair on, and every day she had this headache. So she kept scratching her hair and she had this terrible headache and they didn't know what was going on. So she goes and has a scan and they see some movement in her scalp. Now, yes, it was maggots. You see, they hadn't treated, they haven't treated the hair well. This is somebody's hair that they put on. It hadn't been treated and the maggots eggs had hatched and attached itself to her scalp, and there was quite a few, so they were growing in her head. Now, people, what is the pride of buying other people's hair? What's going on? Why is it fashionable? I haven't understood it. I would rather buy synthetic.
I think I agree with you on that. I'm a great fan of synthetic hair. I'm not too keen on the human hair. There's something. I'm not criticizing those who do it.
No.
I'm talking about me personally.
We're not criticizing anybody.
No, not at all. I just struggle with the idea of buying another human being's hair and putting it on my head. That's just me.
Well,
that's just me.
While we're on the subject, it was, you know, it has been reported as well that a lot of, you know, with this ritual where in the Indians, Peruvians and all of that who go to the temple, cut their hair off, this has been a practice that a lot of Jewish women used to buy wigs from, you know, they used to buy human hair and use it until one day when a few Jewish priests wondered whether the hair that their women were putting on their head was kosher. So they sent a delegation to India to find out
if it was kosher.
Yeah, if it was kosher hair or not. Now I'm looking for that information too. Yeah. So they discovered that yes, it could be kosher because the hair was removed outside of the temple. So it wasn't like a Hindu ceremony or anything. It's the women
you have to take the hair off before you enter the temple to do your rituals.
But then they wondered how kosher that was and if their Jewish religion would identify with that. So after that, the Jewish people stopped buying the Indian hair, and so the Indian hair companies lost a lot of revenue because their normal customers had stopped. Now that was impressive to me because here we are, black people. What is our religion? And what is the kosherness of why do we think that we should buy somebody else's hair? What is that? Why don't we, if we want to adorn, and for years, you know, we adorn our hair with different things. We put different, beads, all sorts of things in our hair. We do wigs. We even use horsehair sometimes to do these things. Why can't we use the hair instead of going over and...
Because we want it to look as
authentic.
Yes, as real as possible,
No.
as you know, the real deal. I think that's what it is.
Well,
so we would pay, you know, millions just to get that proper, you know, authentic human hair, and that's simply it. You know, to get that hair, that real hair. So when someone asks, you can say, no, it's not fake, it's real hair. It's real hair. You can say, you know, I've actually got real human hair.
well, human hair, there are dangers, there are risks, there are maggots, there are all sorts of things. The hair is tonsured, which means it's treated and it's done, but sometimes it's not. And you can't
Guarantee.
you can't guarantee. And anything that's coming out of China, you know, come on, you know, which is where a lot of these hairs are coming from these days. You can't be too sure, you know. So the story about the Orthodox, you know, the wig makers in Orthodox Jewish communities across Europe, US and Israel, until 2004, when a delegation of rabbis from Stamford Hill, which is down the road, North London, went to investigate whether or not the hair could be considered kosher.
Wow.
The delegation was sent by an old Lithuanian rabbi in Israel to work out whether the hair was religious offerings or could be considered religiously neutral.
Okay.
Well, in the end, they decided women were asked to burn their wigs, and it caused a huge crisis in the market because it cut that sector of hair from India into the Jewish market. They don't use that anymore. The Jewish women now prefer to use synthetic hair.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not advising anyone to use synthetic hair. If you feel like you need Peruvian to make you look like a film star or whatever, please knock yourself out. But you have been given the information, and that is what this you know, show is about. We need to share what we know, and we're sharing what we know.
Definitely.
Don't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
yeah, and so you won't believe it, but we're not at the radio station, and it's so nice because you know, I've got a glass of wine here and I'm having a field day, and it's nice.
Relaxed.
We're relaxed. We're around the table. This is the same table that we have dinner at, and we don't normally have breakfast unless it's a Sunday or something. But we have a lot of lunches and dinners on this table.
A lot of conversations have flowed at this table.
Conversations have flowed on this table. Arguments have flowed.
Yes, at this table.
Political, non-political. So you guys are actually at my table today, and we are flowing with hair issues.
Yes.
It's been really nice talking to you guys.
As always.
Yeah, and I don't know what more. What have we missed? Have we missed anything at all?
I think it's a topic that we could go on.
We could.
There's, you know, lots. But I think we've covered a lot today. And, you know, people are free to speak their mind. We're having a conversation.
About
so people
hair.
are free to chip in there.
Well, yeah, some people have chipped in about hair here, and then some people too are just joining and just watching and not saying anything. But someone has offered the information that hair gives fibroids. Someone said growing up we had cane roll plates and it was fine. You need to love yourself. Age appropriate hair.
Oh, do you remember threading when the hair was?
Oh yeah, I remember that. So that was painful as well.
But you know, it's actually a good way of stretching out the hair.
Oh yeah.
And making the hair easier to comb.
Yeah.
You know, I remember in Bonnells we would do that, and they would say we're going to raise the hair. Sunday to go to church.
You're gonna whoosh it.
Yeah. You're gonna have a raise.
Yeah,
You're gonna raise your hair.
Raise your hair. Yeah, hair it's an interesting,
It
you know,
is.
yeah.
It is.
And I think people should embrace their hair at what level. One of the things that I forgot to mention is some people could be genetic to it. They have nice hair, soft hair. Their parents have
Different
hair,
textures,
different
yeah.
textures. And then there's some people who, whatever they do to this hair, it won't grow.
Yes. It's like a hard ground.
I'm telling you.
No matter how many times you water it, it just doesn't.
It won't grow.
The crops will just not grow.
It won't grow. It will not
And then
grow.
there's hair that's extremely hard to comb. It breaks combs.
Yeah.
What we call candykisseih.
Oh, see, some people have that hair. And then they borrow your Afro comb and then they go and break it off. When it comes back, it's lost teeth. I was like, what are you doing to my comb? Yeah.
Exactly, yes, exactly. So yeah, hair is a versatile topic.
Hair is versatile.
Yeah.
You know, this hair, I can tie my thing to it like that.
It's just another style.
You know?
That's the beauty of hair.
Beauty of hair. Hair is versatile. You can do things to it. And if you spend, I was in a boarding school just like you. And you know the interesting thing, there are some girls who can sit in front of the mirror
For hours and then
doing things, oiling their hair,
yeah.
doing things.
You know, some people have time for their hair. They're really into hair. They know what to do with their hair. Naturally born hairstylists.
And then they grow up and they're not even a hairdresser. Yeah, but you know, people do all sorts of
They have a
things.
keen interest. I have a daughter who's very much into hair. You know, she takes care of her hair. People are amazed at what she can do to her hair. She can twist her hair. She can plait her hair. She's got a training doll. You know, for her birthday, she said, "Can I have a training doll's head?" So she buys the extension and she tries to learn how to do plaits. She washes her hair. She goes, "Oh, your hair's kinky coily." I'm like, "What's kinky coily?" Your hair's 4C. She takes time to learn about, hair. And she does her own hair, and I don't have to stress about it because it was getting quite serious, the crying, because she said I'm rough
when you're combing. But sometimes you are cooking, you are plaiting, you are doing it's so many things.
Yeah. I was glad to let go of that role when she took an interest. And she does her own hair, and she's great at it. She's got beautiful hair, and I'm grateful for that because I don't have to worry about what we're going to do about her hair. Thankfully, her hair is still natural as well. She's not. I've tried to convince her not to be in a hurry to put chemicals in her hair.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I must apologize to some people have sent me a message saying my video is sideways. Now, people, one of the things in the perils of life is I don't know how to position it so that it's not sideways. I put it up and I can see it. It's looking, isn't it? We can see ourselves.
we can see
However,
ourselves. Yeah.
it's sideways. And I don't know what to do. It's very difficult.
I'm not very technical, unfortunately. I can't help them because
she wasn't technical,
not technical
and
at all.
I'm not technical. And I try. I'm better than her though. I try, But it's not. So I'm sorry you had to look at it, but I'm gonna turn it. Have it turned tomorrow on YouTube. It will be correct. So that's one thing. So watching it live is being a bit, stressful. But tomorrow it will be turned beautifully and you can have a good look at it. The other thing too is if someone knows how to adjust these things or even how to, edit, somebody teach me so that I can edit my videos and make it more professional. That would be nice. Because I need to do that. But I can't play any music as well because we're not in the studio. And also the studio camera is better than mine because mine is an amateur kind of gig. But I think I've actually enjoyed the hair discussion.
I have as well.
Have you?
I have.
Oh, excellent.
I have.
So I hope you have enjoyed it too. And next week we're gonna. But you know, I'm expecting a very, very important person is gonna come on the show.
Oh,
All the people who come on my show are important, but this one, yay, is a very VVIP. So, stay tuned every Wednesday at 9 o'clock, and I will share with you who is coming, and we shall do something about
well,
it.
we wait with bated breath.
Yeah, well, you will be there, maybe if you have the time. But yeah, so yeah, we'll do it. Do you know, I don't want to leave you, but I must, because I have to take my guest home, and then it's a Wednesday night, so I've got to sleep and wake up and go to work.
Yes.
But the hair issue, we will come back to it some more.
Day,
There's a lot. Would you believe that we did a lot of research and we've only skimmed the surface? Because as for African hair, it's a big deal. It's a big. So, thank you very much for listening. For those who started and ended with us, thank you. For those who came halfway, thank you. For those who came and left, thank you anyway. Thank you. And bye-bye. Be well. Until next time.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. I don't even have music to play. I can't, but I'm all over the place. And my back is hurting.
It's a cold night, it's still warm.
And it's warm. It's a warm night and I've got hot water bottle. I'm massaging my
To ease the pain.
The pain is so bad I can't even walk. Thank you, people. Thank you. Ooh, that was my face.
Came to sharp focus.
Yeah.